All right, Shalom. Want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Kakadash, the honest the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. Just a response to brother in my camp, as well as elder, and you other brothers who did videos on the similar topic of abortion. Because one thing about the scriptures, it talks about seeking the old paths, going into the old ways of how things were done. And so, as you learn your Israelite, you learn your nationality, because that's who the Bible is for the Israelites. And you go into, you start to go into the law, statutes, and commandments, because the scriptures tell you to rehearse the righteous acts. And in the case with abortion, this is something that was not practiced in the ancient world. This is something new, something that pushed out by Esau. And when Esau took over and took power, going back to the Renaissance, started pushing Jake out of the power. Jake is famous for having different harems, famous for having these huge families. And it was not just men that these Edomites oppressed, of course, but our women too. And now that we're here in the captivity under these Edomites, now they're pushing control. Everything is about control. Control of your mind, control of how you think, control of your family, control of reproductive rights. These Edomites in 2019, they're dying out. The reproductive rates have gone down. So now, they can see this information. They have access to it. Now they're trying to bring back the purity of their bloodline. But it's already too late, because this is the height of their rulership, and they're having these issues, these different cracks in the foundation of the empire. But going back to the subject, which is abortion. Because the number one argument people always make is they talk about rape, they talk about incest. This is why in the ancient world there were so many strict laws, because that's another thing people hate about the Israelites too. We're very strict on how women are supposed to be, because through women, that's how you bring forth a nation. Of course, men and women. The Lord himself was born through a woman. The scriptures tell you that. Now, of course, it was a man who got with her to create the Lord. The Lord came through the flesh. He came through the pedigree. Joseph. It was Joseph and Mary, and this is why our women were guarded so heavily. Because we're not like Esau. Esau society. This is supposed to be the captivity for the Israelites. This is supposed to be, these Edomites leg up on us. Here it is. You got Edomite women, in many cases throwing themselves at us with easy access to the Israelites. Very easy access. And it's the same. It's kind of both ways, because the Israelite woman, she's whoring a lot with the Edomite man too. Now all of that shit needs to stop. But the Lord's pedigree, the scriptures will tell you. I believe that's in Matthew 1. It goes all the way back to King David, and then of course that can be traced all the way back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But in this particular case of abortion, it goes back to, because it was done before this date. It was done before this case. But this particular case, which goes on to be the 14th Amendment, this is the precedent for why America allows abortion. This case, Roe v. Wade, and dealing with this woman, Jane Roe. It's going to go into, basically how it was some back alley shit. Women coat hangers, and they would snatch out the baby, all because either A, the woman was irresponsible, or B, because she was married into possibly a family full of degenerates. Because that's the case. That's why this is why marriage was so important. This is why the family structure was so important. This is why a man's house being in order was so important. So it wouldn't be any of that, father getting with the daughter, incest shit. And it wouldn't be any of that, the woman going around getting raped. Because what happens is that's what these women do. They want to be around the bullshit. They want to hang around a bunch of men, and be irresponsible, open their legs up, and then when the time comes, and you make that dumbass mistake, here you can pay a little bit of money and you can get out of it. And that's what America's about. You can pay money, you can get out of it. This is the law. This is Leviticus 18, and the law was never done away with. We're just under grace. These things still to this day apply. For all these people who talk about the law is finished. But we can't keep the law perfectly. So we're under grace. This is a rehearsal period. It said the nakedness of thy son's daughter or thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinswoman. Same case for the father's sister. I'm just gonna tell you, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Okay, and then this whole verse is about immorality, uncovering people's nakedness. You're not supposed to see any of these people nude. Any of that shit. Not like here in America where they got all this weirdo shit where people go into the locker room, they get butt ass naked in front of random strangers. That's not the spirit. That's not our culture. Like the apostle was going into, that goes back to the Greeks. That's these Edomites who do that shit. And my spirit, myself, I had to give a testimony. I always went into the stall. People always say I was weird and shit, but that's just not my spirit. And it shouldn't be in your spirit. And these are all profane things that you're not supposed to do, things that are outside of the temple. Another thing, Leviticus 18:21, thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to lie with mankind. So you're not supposed to do all of these different things which are set up for structure, which are set up for order in the society. And these Edomites, they've completely jumped the hurdle on a lot of these things. Because in this society, you can sacrifice your kids to Molech. That's basically what abortion is. They kill the child. I think they give the woman some kind of chemical or something. Then they pull out the dead fetus. And then they use the fetus baby parts for different scientific purposes. They research it. If it's Israelite, in many cases they research it. See what makes us tick. See what makes us talk. You sacrificing your child to the damn devil, to Molech, the modern day Molech. And then when they talk about putting it in food, and I really don't even want to imagine what the fuck that they really do with the parts for that child. I really don't. And all these things are defilement. The scriptures say what? 18:25, and the land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you, an Israelite foreigner that comes among us. And for all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. So this place is completely defiled because they've done all this. You got men with men, men with beasts, women with animals. Just this place is completely fucking defiled. All of this shit, and this is all under the vibration of Esau. So this is why we're embracing our ancient world customs, because that's one thing about the ancient world. The woman was protected. She was in her place. She was in the house. And what do these women do for them to even get raped? Because that's another part of it too. Going back to the whole rape thing. If in the ancient world, if a woman was in the field, if she was unbetrothed, a man came and got with her, XYZ, et cetera, et cetera. Bada boom, now he has to pay some shekels to her father, and she becomes his wife. If she's married, that man gets put to death, and if she was with it, she gets put to death. But guess what? Well, how was she supposed to prevent that? Be in the household, either under her father in her father's household, where she was a young woman, a virgin, just like Mary, Jesus, aka Yahweh mother, or her father gave her away in marriage to her husband in purity. She was still a virgin, and then she would be married. She would receive that man's last name, which these women do. They have a maiden name, then they have their married name, or aka their given name. And then if the woman was given to the husband, I probably should have pulled that up. If the woman was given to the husband and she was not married, um, that was a dishonor upon her and her family, because her name was basically dishonored in Israel. You probably could look that up. I should have had it up, but that's a part of it too. So it wasn't no sister and brother get together and then she get married. No, because then you're gonna know something's up. Wait a minute, she's not a virgin. But this society, once again, they want to do what they want. They want to break all the rules. They want to trample over everything the Lord set up. That's why this place is fucked up. That's why this place is the place of sexual immorality. You got transgenders teaching children, homosexuals teaching, well, you're getting access to your children. Sickness. But going back to this case, man, because that's the spirit. In this particular case, I'm gonna just keep it light and keep it quick. Basically, this woman, Jane Roe, her real name is Norma McCorvey. This is in '69. She wanted to end the pregnancy. Okay, they're talking about she had grown up in a difficult, impoverished circumstance, and that doesn't matter. Some people just got to go through that shit. Basically, she had given birth twice, given both the children for adoption. The third one, she tried to say that she was raped by a group of black men, but really, from the reports I'm hearing, I heard it on the Tariq Nasheed show that basically the third husband was a so-called black man. She was pregnant by a so-called black man because of the taboo with that sort of thing. Then she wanted to give the baby up, and she said a group of black men had raped her. So they took this trial, and most of these articles on our notice, they took that part out. They took out the part about the so-called black man raping her. Also, there are no pictures with her and the so-called black husband. Maybe they just didn't take any, but it's seeming like Esau's kind of hiding that part of the case. So basically this chick was a slut. I don't think her father was in her life, or maybe he was, and she got tired of having children and putting them up for adoption, because that's another wicked ass thing you could do in this society. You could just throw your kids away, and some homosexuals, Edomite white homosexuals, can adopt them and raise them to be future homos too. This sick ass place. But basically, this is a case that they use as precedent for, look, if this were to happen again, where these damn niggas rape one of our women should be able to yank the baby out. They should be able to abort the baby. And then it became something, completely different. The Supreme Court okayed it. uh, went against the law in Texas, which banned abortion, and they okayed it. So they set the precedent. Warn them to them that decree unrighteous decree, another one a million unrighteous decrees, where these Edomites again taking shit and winging it out their ass. And this is a huge part of the U.S. law. This is the 14th Amendment that was made to the Constitution. So Esau that he made changes. The scriptures talk about meddle not with them that are given the change. He got many amendments. We went off on this. That's another amendment. That's another amendment. So you guys never had the truth in your foundation. You weren't under the laws of God. Otherwise, you wouldn't need the Constitution. You wouldn't need to write this shit. That's why they could take the Israelites into slavery and it'd be lawful under American law. And then later on, we received freedom, but the other rights, which were addressed to men, were not for us. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna really read through it. They skipped over a lot of information you could look up. Like I said, I could not find any pictures of her children or the husband she was married to. Esau kind of tactically took that information off. This is kind of predates the internet, so it's hard to get. Lord willing, is edifying though. Hey, this is just another principle. This is another stronghold of wickedness that's being taken down. Okay, if the woman's irresponsible, you give it the dude, he impregnates you, just had a baby. And really, you're supposed to check yourself and settle down, because you let this man get with you unprotected. Because inside you can use a condom, you can do all that shit. Basically, it prolongs irresponsible behavior. That's exactly what it does. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Kakadash. Hey, we're coming out of that. We're trying to come out of that spirit of being irresponsible, of being lazy, of being, just everything being confusion and up in the air. That's why American laws and Western culture, just like the elder said, they don't work for us. So this is the way we're supposed to go. This is the state of being that we're supposed to be in, just like the Lord, just like the men of the scriptures, and the rest of our forefathers who may not be written. Shalom.